All right, how you doing, guys? Bitcoin. Time for a quick update on Bitcoin. First of all, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but maybe the sound is starting to sound a bit clearer. I've been waiting for my new mic to arrive, and now that it has arrived, I'm planning to do a lot more regular videos, a lot more consistently. So yeah, it's all good, and yeah, you probably noticed that the sound wasn't very clear on my previous videos, so that's fixed now, and onwards and upwards. So anyway, Bitcoin, let's see what's been happening. So yeah, as you can see, this chart is a fresh chart. I've got the moving averages here. I use the 30-day and the 10-day moving averages, and basically let's take a look at what's been happening in the semi-long term. So from my previous videos, we basically established that Bitcoin was heading up this this trend here, and just to kind of reiterate, guys, I don't really use the wicks here. Let's use the 4-hour chart. So okay, so I'm going to go from the open and close parts of the candle. Okay, and we can basically see that with this okay, with this candle here, with this big bear candle here, this is the thing that actually broke the uptrend, because we were kind of going up this uptrend here. And yeah, so, and also we did mention that here we were kind of heading up an upward wedge, which was actually I mean, it's clear to see, but it was just kind of highlighted to me initially by one of my subscribers, which it's resulted in a downturn, which is basically the rising wedge has kind of it's done what it's supposed to do, right? It's broken on the bear side, yeah. But there's a few things here, okay? So it's broken on the bearish side, which is fair enough, but let's kind of actually see what's going on here, okay? Because this was the all-time high up here, okay? We can say it's near 5,000. This is the all-time high here, okay? It's actually on Bittrex. I've got here, I mean, the all-time high in Bittrex was like 4,950 or something like that, right? But I've got the line here, like I said, on the close price of the candle, so the opening close price. So I've got it here at 4,890 or something like that, right? So that's one thing. And also, let's kind of draw the other main support zone here. If I take the one day chart, it'll be clearer here. And this 3,000 zone here, which was the other main support zone. Okay, so this is the current base support zone. Okay, guys, if you just bear with me 1 second, the postman's here, so let me just go and open the door for him. I'll see you now. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so anyway, where were we? So yeah, basically we can see that this this rising wedge has come out on the bearish side, which that's what it's supposed to do. At this point, I got a few messages saying, oh, bullish on Bitcoin, but look what's happening. But the thing is, guys, look, the way this has been rising, it's not sustainable. You can't just expect something to continue rising. I mean, it hasn't happened in its entire history. Why do we expect it to continue why do we expect it to happen now, right? So obviously when price goes up, it's going to go up in waves. It's going to go up in waves, and it's our job to kind of try and read those waves. If we're going to trade them intermediately, like intermittently, then we've got to kind of kind of, you know, look at the indicators and kind of decide where we're jumping in and out. If we're swing trading them, you know, on a longer term, then it's less relevant. You know, me personally, like, I've got to make this really clear. I'm not really much of a day trader. I'm not going to be like in and out of trades within one day. You know, if I'm probably going to be holding for, you know, a week, a few days, a week. You know, sometimes I'm holding for a month. You know, so that's the thing, guys. So I'm really less concerned about these small. I'm less concerned about these small ups and downs. You know, I'm less concerned about making profit on these like, you know, day traders will be making profit here, like this 7% here. Day traders will be making profit, you know, here, you know, 7% here, 7%, 10% here or there. Yeah. I'm less concerned about that and more kind of about the longer term, you know, the big, you know, 40, 50, 60% swings, right? So yeah, so now that that's broken on the bearish side, there's a couple of things I want to look at here. Now, the main support and resistance line I'm looking at here, and I've highlighted this to you before in a previous video, is this zone here, right? If it breaks here, right, this is the first main support zone I'm looking at. Okay, and it's looking like it's coming close to there. Now, I personally think there's a strong chance it will hold this zone. Why? Because we can see here, I mean, this, if I scroll it back here, I mean, this line here, I mean, it extends. If I extend it back, we can see it's pretty much a support and resistance line all the way along this zone here. All right, so it's a strong support and resistance line. Okay, the second thing is that if we look at the moving averages here, right, you can see this pink moving average here. Let me just thicken it up a bit so you guys can see what's going on. You can see this pink one here, right? Obviously it's very visible now, right? It's, you know, the 1 day chart has broken through this green candle here, right? This green candle usually acts as support when it's on an uptrend. You can see it's bouncing off this green candle here. Yeah, you'll see it clearer, let's say on the 6 hour. Okay, you can see on the 6 hour it's kind of hugging this green line on the way up, right? But it's broken it on the 1 day. Okay, now, okay, because we've had this you know, shift in momentum on the downside, right? But when it does that, it sometimes, well, usually the next thing, you know, it can do is bounce off the 30-day line, right? So the 30-day line is there, and basically that 30-day line is meeting this support and resistance line, right? So that, I mean, you got to be quite accurate when you draw them. So yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, look at this support and resistance line. Look at this moving average line, and you can see it's basically in and around the 4,075 range, between 4,050 to 4,075, right? So, you know, if you're a day trader, I mean, you can look at this two ways, right? You can say, okay, on the 1 day chart, you know, we're heading down on the stochastic RSI. You can see this, it's coming down, right? Which obviously I'm expecting it to come down, right, in the short term, right, in the next few days, right? But also, okay, if we start zooming in a bit, we can say, okay, well, the 12-hour RSI here, stochastic, right? Yes, it's coming down, but it's starting to get to the oversold zone here. I mean, look, it's coming to the point here where it's going to start to want to turn back around, and especially with Bitcoin, guys, when Bitcoin comes to a level of like support, it tends to find strong support, right? So, which we're finding here. Can you see it on the 12-hour chart? It's starting to find support here on this line here, on this You can see that, right? You just saw that right now. It's starting to find support on right on the 30-day moving average line, right? But I personally think on the 1-day moving average line, it's probably going to come down here and start to find strong support here. So for day traders, you could potentially buy this here, because from here we can pretty much expect a 12-hour bounce, right? Because we're looking at the 12-hour chart here, and within the next half a day to a day, right, we can expect the price to maybe come down, another sharp sell-off here, and maybe find support here, right, and then have a little bounce, at least on the 6-hour chart, because you see the 6-hour RSI is starting to head up a bit, right? So it just takes time, and we can in fact see on the 6-hour chart that it's starting to find support here, right? So if we could potentially have another just quick panic sell down to this line, or it could just remain here. I personally think it could have just one push down, yeah, on the 1-hour chart. 1-hour chart, what am I talking about? On the 1-day chart, it could result in a wick. You see these wicks? I'm not talking about the whole candle like closing below this line. I'm talking about the wick, these little lines here. You can call it a falling knife, a falling dagger, or whatever you want to call it, but basically a sharp wick just touching this line, finding support here, and having a little rally. Now, in terms of a day trading point of view, I think we could bounce here, you know, in the next few days back up to about 4,400. Yeah, it's just my opinion, right? But the thing is that we are, I mean, that's like a 9% gain there, right? Let me just do that from the actual line itself. Yeah, 9%. Yeah. The thing is, obviously, on the 1-day chart, we are heading down on the stochastic RSI. So ideally, what we want to see happen is one of two things. Either this continue to come down and it start a new kind of oscillation in price, or come down to here and the 12-hour kicks in then and starts to turn the price round, and we can come back up here, okay, from here, okay, which does happen. You can see here, this is something that, you know, occurs quite a lot, right? So we can see here we had a massive sell down here, and then, you know, it just decided to, when we were testing these all-time highs before, it decided to come back up. So that's something possible. Just because the stochastic RSI is here, it doesn't mean it has to come all the way down. Sorry guys, let me just get rid of that. It doesn't mean it has to come all the way down, and it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it won't come all the way down, right? So you got to kind of look at all the time frames. All right, what are all the time frames saying? All right, so look, we know the 6-hour is really, when you look closer in, is starting to point up a bit, right, which is positive. But that does not mean that it's just going to point up and keep going up, right? I mean, if all of them, all the time frames were pointing up, like the 1 day, the, you know, the 3 day, that's a good point. Let's have a look at 3 day. 3 day, you see 3 days come up a bit and it's starting to point down again, okay? So the 1 day is pointing down. The 12-hour is still pointing down, but it's going to, you know, start to hopefully turn around here. So the 6-hour is starting to point up here, and that's positive signs. It does not mean that it has to continue going up all the way to the top, right? So you have to kind of take all the readings. The 4-hour, okay. Here's the thing, guys. Let's look at the 4-hour. Okay, so I want to highlight something to you that's very important. Okay, can you see? I'm gonna highlight something that's a very good kind of signal that to sell here. This was a very good signal. Okay, so basically I'm going to draw it with arrows. Okay, as you can see with this arrow here pointing this way, it correlates to this arrow, okay, pointing down. So as the chart is going up in price, the stochastic RSI is going down in strength. Okay, the chart is going up in price. Bitcoin is going up in price, but the stochastic RSI is going down. Okay, which basically means that we're losing strength as the price is going up, which means at some point we're going to have a sharp sell down. All right, so it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that, you know, that's you know, we're going to sell down from there. So this is a clear what we call divergence. Yeah, it's not the Hollywood film. it's a chart reading technique. Okay, so by the same token, we can kind of, you know, look out for divergence on the positive side. Once these things reset a bit here, we can start to look for, okay, is the chart going down, but the RSI is starting to go up, right? So if we see this, okay, the RSI is starting to go up, but the chart's going down, then we will say, okay, let's buy here because I've got a feeling it's just going to start going through the roof, right? So that's kind of what, you know, what I want to highlight there in terms of the how to read divergence of the RSI. By the way, guys, divergence doesn't just happen with the stochastic RSI. Like, let me try and find something. All right, because you can kind of see here the strength in the normal RSI is kind of heading down as well, right? The strength of the normal RSI is kind of heading down from the top here. It's kind of heading down, okay? But personally, this is, and it's just me personally, I prefer to use the stochastic RSI to measure divergence, okay? You can use the MACD as well. You can see divergence on the MACD. You can use divergence on the on balance volume, right? So if you, let's say we look at the, all right, this is great, all right? So we can see here the on balance volume is the volume is going down, yeah? The on balance volume is going down, but the price has been just going up, right? Clear divergence, clear sign of divergence. And what did we get? The result, okay? We got result in it coming down. Now I'm going to show you guys something, but I don't want to scare you, right? I don't want to scaremonger, but I'm going to show you something that is like a really long-term divergence that I have not seen anyone else show anyone this. I'm going to show you guys, okay? So, right, so basically what we have here, guys, yeah, is the 1 week chart. And we can see negative divergence on the 1 week chart as well, which is basically telling us that Bitcoin, you know, should be coming down, basically, right, on a really large time frame. Okay, so basically, look, we've got this divergence here, yeah, with Bitcoin going up here. Okay, so we've got Bitcoin going up in price like a huge amount, and Bitcoin coming down in strength. Okay, so I mean, that's basically telling us that Bitcoin should be coming down in the long term. But guys, this isn't the be all and end all, right? I mean, we were extremely overbought here. So in a sense, it's healthy to have correction. Corrections are completely healthy, guys. But what we can see here is, I mean, the good thing is that we've made a higher high here. Just as this is a higher high here, this is a higher high here, we've made a higher lows here. Okay, so this is still going up, this is still going up, okay? And this can turn around quite easily, right? And we have, in fact, had the pullback from here. Look, you can see this pullback here. We've had that, yeah? But the worst thing now would be is if we come back down here on the RSI and make a lower low on the RSI here or on the weekly, okay? If that happens, then, you know, we're basically, you know, that's bearish, right? So we just got to keep an eye on it, guys, and trade it as it comes. I mean, there's a million things I can show you. To be honest with you, there's so many things. When you're looking at the charts, you can kind of look at it all day and just, you know, yeah, to be honest with you, I love it. I love just looking at the charts all day and just kind of analyzing different things. But you know, you have to have your strategy. You know, my strategy won't be the same as, you know, everyone else's. Mine is kind of like a, you know, semi long term, you know, few days to a few weeks strategy. You know, some coins you might want to hold for like years, right? Just depending on, you know, if you like their project. Omise Go, for example, you know, you might want to buy that as it's coming down and just hold for like, you know, the next 6 months, right? So it makes sense, right? So anyway, coming back to the chart, the 1 day chart. So we're looking at this zone here as the support and resistance zone. After that, guys, kind of, it's a difficult one. This zone right here. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. I mean, 4,000 will be psychological support. Yeah, because it's the bottom of this candle here. Zoom in a bit. This bottom of this candle here, okay, and bottom of these close prices here. So that would be a psychological support zone. This would be a support zone also, the bottom of these candles right here. But really and truly, I mean, I would be looking at really if the I mean, it could easily break below 4,000, to be honest with you, and I would be looking at this zone right here to correlate with the cloud, the 1 day cloud as well, because we can see the cloud support has proved valid, right? Even throughout the downtrends, you can see the cloud support has proved to be strong on the 1 day, right? So I would be looking to buy in here. I don't think it's going to come all the way back down here, guys. I really don't. In all honesty, I'd buy here towards the 4,075, 4,050 area, and then and play the bounce. You could do that. One thing we've got to look out for here is a potential bearish kind of double top. So what we don't want to see here is like a bounce like this, right? So like a double top and then coming down, right? So that's obviously just something we need to look out for, because it has the potential here to form like a double top. Yeah, so it could bounce off here, come back up here, bounce off here, come back down, and then drop down. That is one scenario. Okay, another thing I want to kind of highlight to you guys. Okay, we can say, all right, look, this has broken the so-called let's look at it on the 6 hour. I'm going to get rid of these moving averages, guys, so that we can see the chart clearer here. Yeah, so we can say, okay, it's broken the wedge on the bearish side. All right, and there were some people messaging me saying, oh, you know, Bitcoin's Bitcoin's getting destroyed or whatever. Guys, look, it's had like a, what is it, like a 6% drop. You know, from the very top, it's had like a, you know, 8% drop. Yeah, over the last few days, right? So, you know, obviously, if you're trading on a day-to-day, you'd have had your stop loss here below this line here. Yeah, because you can see now that line here is resistance. Yeah, but basically, look at something else. I want to show you something else on the 1 day chart. If you look at the trend on the 1 day chart, get rid of this, get rid of that. If we look at this trend on the 1 day chart, and I draw my support lines using the open and close prices, we're still very much on the 1 day trend. Do you see what I'm saying? So on the 1 day trend, we're still, you know, we came, sold all the way down, all right, made a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, all right? And we could potentially just be making another higher low here and continuing the trend on the 1-day chart, right? So what looks bearish and incredibly, you know, if you obviously draw the trend the other way, what looks extremely bearish in the shorter term time frames, on the longer term time frame, guys, it just looks like a healthy pullback. It just looks like a healthy pullback. All right. So obviously we have to be cautious here, because we're, you know, if we create this this rising wedge here, you know, it has the potential to break bearish. I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, it has a potential to break bearish, but you know, just kind of observe what's happening here, because on the 1-day chart, where, hold on, let me just see something, guys, on a clearer level. Yeah. All right, so that's better. All right, so yeah, that's this is how I'm going to draw my line, guys. You guys might agree with it, disagree with it, whatever. This is how I'm drawing my 1-day trend line, right? So it's basically at the moment right on the trend line, right? It could sell below a bit and hit this thing. If we take this this support line that I drew before and just move it up just a slightly, it correlates with this and the very tops of this zone here that I drew before. All right, so that's something you can look at. I mean, personally, I just like keeping it just right on the tops here. All right, it could sell down more and just tap this support line here and bounce off it. So what I'm trying to say to you is, on the 1-day chart, we're still looking healthy. We're still looking healthy. Yes, we've had a sell down, but guys, the price isn't just going to shoot up in a straight line like a rocket to the moon, right? It's not going to do this. You know, this rise here, this parabolic rise here, was crazy. This rise here was just crazy, right? We cannot expect the price to do that all the time, right? So basically, it's had a sell down, and now what we're waiting for here is, okay, let's see the 1-day RSI to show itself. Is it going to come all the way down and start a new oscillation in price? Is the 12-hour going to force the 1-day to start turning? So if the 12-hour starts just forcing its way up, right, then we can look at the 1-day and it might start turning around halfway. Okay, if that happens, then what we can start doing is start looking for signs of divergence and stuff like that, right? So, and I would be looking for signs of divergence on the 4-hour chart, which obviously, for all of this to play out, we're looking at the next few days. All right, so that's cool. Now let's look at Bitcoin in the long term, guys, because I want to do like a long-term analysis for you guys, right? I'll get rid of this line here, get rid of that line here. We can always draw that again. Get rid of that trend line here. So what do we have here, right? So at the moment, all right, I'm going to start right from the beginning for you guys. All right, this is going to be top to bottom what's been going on with Bitcoin, okay, on the 1-day chart on Bittrex, okay. Actually, you know what, guys, let me, oh, that didn't work. Anyway, all right, let's just do this on Bittrex, okay. So all right, so basically from back here, from the beginning of like March time, let's say, yeah, we started this new parabolic move up, okay, and we had a big sell down here, right? We're very much on this kind of uptrend here, yeah. Okay, so this is basically where we were, right? And since then, we started a new kind of shift in movement on the upside, right? Which basically, what I'm trying to say is kind of, if you draw this, extend this trend line out, you know, it's, you know, you can look at it two ways. You can either say, all right, we're still on this main trend here, but we've also started a new movement up, and that movement is this movement here. We've also started this movement here. All right, so that's something you need to look at here, right? All right, so let's look at something else, okay? The previous all-time highs when we were in this zone here, like back in between May, June to August, was like the $3,000 zone, right? So we can mark this area here, the $3,000 zone, as a actually, you know what? Let me just draw a horizontal line here, right here. Okay, I'm gonna change the color of that, guys. I don't. Yeah, let's just use this color, thicken it up a bit. Too thick. All right, cool. So the $3,000 zone was the all-time high, and what we can see is basically we were in a giant kind of, you know, we created a few kind of ascending triangles here. You can see, like, without going too deep into it, we can see one here. Stay in drawing mode, and we can see one here. Yeah, that's one ascending triangle here. Where else? I mean, there's a few different ascending triangles. Okay, get out drawing mode. But the main thing I want to highlight to you guys is, all right, so we came up here all-time high. We almost hit that zone here. We came up to like 2900, came back down. A few days later, hit you know, a 2937 or whatever, all-time high. Came back down, sold all the way down to like 1900, and then came up, chopped around in this zone for a bit, and then sold all the way back down to like 1800, and then came back up, tested that all-time high, almost just basically tested that all-time high, came back down, like tested it again up here, came back up, and then tested it again, literally bounced off of it, came back down, sold down all the way down to like 25 something, 25.50, and then that must have shook a lot of people out on this one here, and then came back up. I mean, really and truly, guys, you know, if you see on the 12-hour chart, it's clearer here. You know how many times we tested this, about 6 different times, and then eventually you broke up above it. Okay, so what happened then is, okay, we're going up. All right, we're just going further up and up. Okay, until we hit the, you know, like almost 5,000 zone up here, right? And then we had that big China news, all right? We had that big China news, and also Jamie Dimon messing around, and we had a big sell down, right? Which is cool, but look where we sold down to. That previous all-time high, which was solid resistance, we hit so many times, became solid support, solid, right? So we bounced off of there, and now basically this is where we are. Right, so basically what I'm saying to you is basically this is our like strong support zone here on the 3000. Okay, now another thing you got to look at is, okay, what's our next all-time high? Okay, we're looking at this zone here. All right, this you know, 4900 and something, right? So this zone here, okay, is our next all-time high. Okay, so we're starting to see patterns arise here. Okay, let me just measure something, guys. Let me just measure this to here and see where that correlates to. Yeah, okay, so you can see from the start of this move here, from the start of this move to here, is exactly the same as basically this here, like this move here is pretty much exactly the same, right? So we can expect at least this, like 7,000. I'd expect it to go even higher, but if we break this zone here, you know, but we're looking at least 7,000. Anyway, that's just a side note, right? So, all right. So another thing we've got to look at is well, we don't have to look at this. This is something that I just kind of found interesting here is that this, from the all-time high, it has been, let's do the, if you look at the tops, right, and this isn't a trend line per se, this is, you know, it's more of a kind of pitchfork, but I don't really draw pitchforks. I prefer to draw my just draw my lines, right? Because if you draw the pitchfork like so, you start to get like zones here where it's trading in between. You can see it's trading in between these zones. I mean, you could really take it far and do it like this, right? Right. So you can see how it's bouncing off these zones here on the pitchfork, which is cool. I mean, theoretically, you can just kind of follow this all the way up, right? But anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say is, okay, so let's say we had a run up here and we had a nice correction here. You know, we had a nice long run up here, a few months, had a nice long correction here, you know, a month and a half or so, a nice run up here, another month and a half or so, a sharp correction here, and now we're kind of in this zone here. You know, we're going to chop around in this zone. You know, we are going to chop around in this zone for sure, yeah. This doesn't mean like we're not going to like some people, when I say Bitcoin is bullish, some people are expecting it to do this. It's not going to do that. That's not why, you know, it's not, the price is never ever going to move up like that unless it's like a pump and dump scam coin, right? Which obviously Bitcoin isn't, right? So we're having a pullback here. You can see it's going to be, you know, there's a quite, you know, a lot of volume in this pullback here. But at the end of the day, sorry guys, I've just got to undo that because the price just moved down a bit. There you go. Okay. All right. At the end of the day, we're still in this zone here, right? So now if we look at, okay, like where are we expecting the price to go? Let's just do this thing again. Measure the movement. Hold on one sec. Let's if we measure that same movement again, okay, that we had last time, and do that again. Let's say do that from here, all right, and we say, okay, let's say theoretically we're heading to 7,000, yeah, and we draw the line from here, yeah. Okay, now what we can do is kind of just map this out, right? I'm not saying it's going to follow this bottom trend all the way. It could really like come up here and bounce off this trend line and create a new move up also, right? It could, it might not, right? But if we just extend this out here, then we've got like time frames, like next, you know, we can realistically say, like, you know, by the end of the year, if we look at this zone here, we're looking at middle of September, or like September the 21st, something like that. That's if we're following this thing here, this you know, if we continue to bounce off the top of this line here, which, you know, it's happened a few times, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, right? So I'm just saying, I mean, it doesn't have to, right? But it's just something to kind of look at, right? Another thing is, God, this is going to be difficult. All right, let me just check another chart, guys, quickly. All right, another thing is, if we look at the older charts on like Bitstamp, right, and go all the way out, right, and then use Fibonacci. I haven't done this, so I'm not entirely sure if this is gonna, yeah, okay. So 4,800 was the zone. Okay, let's go back to USDT, Bittrex. Okay, cool. So All right, so now if we take this price that we went up to, right, and I'm just trying to see if there's any correlation here, guys, to all right, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So if we take the Fibonacci extension, right, and draw it from top to bottom, yeah, then we can basically see from this move to that move, the extension, which I moved this line up anyway a little bit, but if we, all right, let me just do this again so it's clear for everyone to see. If we take this line here, yeah, and we already know that this is the same as this. Obviously, I'm not drawing it accurately, otherwise it would be. Okay, this is pretty much the same movement that we had here. And if we do that again, look where we get in terms of the Fibonacci. It's pretty much there, right? 7,000, right? So that's basically what I'm saying, is that is a very, very strong area of interest right there. That's a very, very strong area of interest because it's correlating with the 1.61.8% Fibonacci, right? It's correlating with these like basically these price extensions, right? So this is the same as this, and we're expecting that to be the same as those two as well, right? A lot of people say that the last wave up is really big in crypto, right? So that's something else to be wary of. But I mean, realistically, sorry guys, let me just do that again. I've just realized something. Yeah, okay. So sorry guys. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so anyway, let me sorry guys, I'm getting a bit confused there. Anyway, so basically what we can do now is basically map out the Elliott wave sequence, right? Because that would mean that our Elliott wave sequence is pretty much perfect. So if we go 1, 2, 2, the correction down, 3, there's the second leg up, 4 is the second correction, 5 is the third leg up, right? And that's it, complete, right? So that's basically what we can be looking at, right? And I mean, I'm expecting this to chop around here, right? But eventually when it breaks out, we can take this as a target zone. I bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be a huge amount of people selling here at 7,000, huge. All right, so personally, I would be selling here at 7,000, right, or just below 7,000. Okay, so that's something that, you know, basically just keep in mind in the longer term, right? And then from here we can expect a correction down. Where the correction down is going to be, who knows? It could be down back to this 5,000 zone. Obviously that's going to be extremely strong support zone, right? We could come back down to here, bounce down here on this zone here. If we break this zone, then I would say this line here is going to hold. Like even like this zone here would pretty much hold. So even like I don't think we're going to see like below 3,000s again, to be honest with you. Like once we get past here, I don't think we'll see like sub 3,000 again. That's just my personal opinion, right? Like we're not going to collapse all the way back down. Like if we have the full market cycle, then we probably will have the type of correction like the correction, you know, like, all right, we might have a correction like this ABC. Just 1 second here. Yeah, we might have something like this. Anyway, just yeah, basically down to around here. Yeah, but we could also just bounce off this zone here on the 5,000. Okay, you just got to kind of take it, you know, at that time, see what the situation is, right? But yeah, that's basically where we are now with Bitcoin. This is, and by the way, guys, this is a conservative estimate for me. Like a lot of people are kind of saying, with this gonna, you know, on its way to 10,000. You know, because 10,000 is just that psychological figure that's going to magnetize Bitcoin towards it, right? And eventually we're going to go there, right? So, I mean, it's just kind of watch this space time, guys. Anyway, this video is turning out to be quite a long one, so I'm going to cut it short here. And let me know what you think, guys. Like I said, this thing that I've just drawn here is just the structure. It's just to kind of show you guys the structure of what's going on here. I mean, you know, like really and truly, guys, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna be like trading within this zone. Like, you know, like, guys, look, we can already kind of clearly see that 1 second, guys. Yeah. All right, so we can already kind of clearly see that we're chopping around this zone on the pitchfork. We could come back down to this green line and then bounce back up, but we're not just going to go straight up. We're going to chop around and then definitely bounce off this 5,000 zone. If we come anywhere close to there, there's going to be a lot of profit taking, a lot of selling here as well. We're going to bounce back down and then chop around and eventually, you know, squeeze against this trend line here, and eventually, you know, as long as the oscillator is kind of you know, reset and we get enough kind of strength behind us, then hopefully pop out of this zone here. All right, so that's something to look at, guys. I hope this helps. I hope you found that useful. If so, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment in the comment box below. If there's a coin, if there's an altcoin you want me to take a look at, whatever, that's cool. And yeah, I'm having my first tuition session soon as well, guys. That's something I do offer for beginners at the moment. So if you guys are interested, then let me know. We can hook up and I can arrange some time to put aside for you guys. Anyway, until the next one, adios and all the best.